I said, okay, I'm gonna hold it for you. You want me to hold it? Well, when you come back Wednesday, you say, man, I'm gonna need $300 that month. I got something to do. What are you gonna tell me if I tell you, okay, when you come back, I need you to bring me 425 back?
Uh,
You're gonna look at me crazy, right?
right, right.
So how am I gonna charge interest on your own money if you say it was mine?
Yeah, it really don't make much business sense, but it make much. I think it probably make a lot of sense for the company.
But you think about this. Let's say we have $100,000 cash value, have $100,000 policy, build up $25,000 cash value. You say, well, I want to go buy this new truck. I got $25,000 cash value. It's gonna cost me 20. You go borrow that money back. Of course, they're gonna charge you to pay it back. But if something happens to you before you pay that $20,000 back, they're gonna take it out of face value of your policy.
Okay.
So they're gonna get theirs.
Right.
So now your policy is down to 80,000.
Do me a favor. Kind of explain the difference between whole and term life insurance, just for the younger people who may not really understand where you're coming from with it.
All right. Well, whole life, it puts two products in one. They say it's a savings account and insurance. It's going to be higher than term. It's going to cover you for your whole life. But when you look at the money that you're spending on it, you could have got term for a lot cheaper, a lot more term, and just turn around and invest that money. It's never a wise thing to put two into one. Put your investment with your insurance. That's not a way. That's not a good money management way. It works good for them, and plus the insurance agent makes more money when he says your whole life. Term life is pure death benefit. It's just like you buy insurance on your car. You don't use it unless you die. That you don't have no cash value or anything. And the reason we talk about whole and term, whole has a benefit for people that can't qualify for term, or you're older and you just need some insurance. And if you can't and you can't qualify for term, you can get whole. That's the only way I recommend whole. If you're young, I recommend term because you're young, got a lot of bills, got a lot of responsibilities. Well, you need as much life insurance as you can at a cheaper price. Well, the difference in what you're going to pay in that term and whole, set up your Roth IRA or traditional IRA, or just a plain mutual fund account, and stick that extra money in mutual fund account. Because if you can put back $200 a month for 35 years, puts you right at $900 and some $1,000 at a 9% return over 35 years. You know, everybody says, well, my term runs out. Okay, if you put back $200 for 35 years on a 35-year level term, and you got $800,000 to $900,000 in the bank, is there any need for life insurance? We take the need away from life insurance, because in 35 years, kids should be grown, house should be paid off, bills should be paid down. There's no need for life insurance if you have cash in the bank. That's what we tell people. You shouldn't have life insurance your whole life. You need life insurance when you've got responsibilities, when you got kids, got a house, got stuff you have to take care of just in case something happens to you. Now, if you're a husband and wife and husband leaves for work and never comes back home, if we have a plan in place for you, you got enough in there to pay off the house, pay off the car, put some money back for the kids, and start a little money coming into you every month. There's no amount of money we can give you to bring your husband back, but we can make it a lot easier for you. And plus, having life insurance is cheaper than having a cell phone bill in most cases if you're young.
Nah, hey, Mr. Smith, this is Tate, Mr. Smith. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
All right. I'm glad you said that, because I never looked at it like that in my life, that if you have enough money in the bank, life insurance not even really important because you got it to pay for it.
Yeah.
And still won't be hurting. Your family still won't be hurting if you did out of your policy, out of your money when you left. That I never looked at it like that. So you basically saying that you can let your insurance make money for you over the years, and once you get to a certain age, you can draw it down and put it in the bank.
No, I'm saying get term life, which is going to be cheaper, get more coverage. Well, we're going to set you up a mutual fund account, which basically is a crazy way to say it. It's a bank account on steroids. Because the mutual fund account is going to earn way more than the bank does. Folks don't realize it. You know, when we're young, what we taught to do? We're taught to put your money in the bank, right?
Right.
What does the bank do with your money?
Make money off your money.
Bank invest your money, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So let's cut the bank out. Let's cut the middleman out. Now you invest your own money. Now you make the 9-10% that the bank was making, and not take the 0.5% that the bank gives you.
Okay. That makes sense.
Now this is the hustle move. Y'all are not old. I was old enough to know when they handed you a paper check. That paper check may not make it to the bank. I may cash it at the liquor store. I may cash it anywhere, but not at the bank. So the bank can't make no money off me, right?
Right.
Where does your check go right now?
Usually direct deposit.
Direct deposit straight to the bank. Bank loans your money out. Bank makes money off of it. A lot of people don't realize if you take $200,000 to the bank and put it in the bank right now, 4 days later, go back and say, I need my $200,000 out. They're going to say, sir, I can't give it to you. You want to come back in about 5 or 6 days till we get this money built back up. They loan out money every day to make money.
And that's crazy because I just gave you this a few days ago and I come right back forward and you ain't got it. You didn't invest it that fast.
Yes. They invest money every day. Bank is a business. Bank is designed to make money.
And most banks, even though they got your money, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them don't want to loan you nothing.
No, not unless I can hit you with 9, 10, 12% interest. Exactly. So now I can make more money off of you.
And that's the thing. Like they've been speaking on that on the news because lately it's a few banks actually that have completely shut down.
Uh-huh.
And those people basically lost their money.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I'm not saying they lost it all, but you know, if the banks crash, your money basically in the air.
Well, if they are insured by FDIC, they're insured up to $250,000.
That's per account, right?
It's per account. Per person. And that's, you know, most banks are not going to shut down if they're credible banks. But you got some folks out there doing some money laundering and moving some stuff around, playing with them numbers. Yeah,
exactly.
There's some stuff going on. But we've been told all our lives that to put money in the banks. That's what keeps banks open. Well, we teach you how to bypass the middleman. Now you become the owner, not the loaner. Because the national average interest rate on a checking account is like 0.5%. And if you take, and we teach a concept called a rule of 72. It's in the back of your accounting books. It's in the back of, some of your math books, but they never teach it. Let me tell you why. The rule of 72 states if you take your interest rate divided into 72, it tells you when your money is going to double. Well, its national average is 0.5%, which is less than half a penny. You take a half a penny and go into 72. It goes 144 times. How many of y'all have seen a 144-year-old birthday party?
Never.
Probably read about it in the Bible.
That's the only time. So what I'm telling you is it takes 144 years for $1 to turn to $2.
And that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Because if you ask the banker about that, they look at you like some of them know it, some of them know the rule, and some of them don't. Some of them have no idea. Because I had a question. I asked the banker, I said, I got a question. You'll sell me a $70,000 house for 30 years, right? He said, yeah, we can finance that up. I said, can I buy a $70,000 car for 30 years? He looked at me and said, I said, you'll sell me that car for 8 years at the most. Was it 84 months? 96 months. I said, why can't I buy a house like that?
And that's crazy because me and somebody just had this exact conversation probably about a week ago about why is it that you can buy a car for the same price as you can buy a little small house, but you 9 times out of 10 gonna pay that car off in 72 months. 9 times out of 10, that's probably gonna be the furthest they want to take you, unless you just got some A1 credit. But the same house for the same price, you paying it over all those years, just like you just said. We just had that exact, and now you breaking it down as to why they doing it, because we didn't know, and we was wondering why is they like that.
Well, I can make more money off the house over 30 years. Plus, the car is appreciation asset also.
Right,
Once
right.
you know, folks don't realize once I buy this nice $100,000 car, when I drive off the lot and go down here to the store and get some gas, I can't turn around and take it back to the dealership and sell it for $100,000.
Now I do know about the depreciation of the cars. I most definitely understand that.
You know, once you learn how money works, I tell these young folks, especially my son, he's not a big clothes person. I tell these young guys, don't buy every pair of Jordan that come out. Put $200 back a month. $200 now is a night hanging out with the guys.
Sure know what to say.
You know, or you know, I'm not a big clothes person. Or a pair of pants and a shirt, that's $200 for y'all folks that, you know, buy clothes and all. I buy car parts. I spend money on cars, so that's where I waste my money at. But you think about if you start working and you're 17, 18, you put back $200 a month for 35 years, which puts you at 40 something. If you got $1 million in the bank and retirement built up, is there a need for you to go kill yourself working all the time?
Not at all.
$1 million in the bank, you live off 10%. What's that? 100,000 a year.
Yep.
Or if you live,
see,
go ahead.
I done had that conversation. I done had that conversation with people, like, and it's crazy because our community is the main community. I'm not gonna say the main one, but our community is the main community that look at the rappers. You know, the other communities do as well, but our community are the main ones that try to mimic their lifestyle, try to mimic their songs, try to mimic this and that about them, the way they dress, the way they, you know, just richer people, period. But what we fail to realize is we're trying to mimic somebody that doesn't even pay for majority of the stuff they have. And we're trying to mimic somebody who's not going out spending their own personal money majority of the time because they living off of their interest, what they got in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get the younger ones to see that. You know, it's just like what I see is what I get. So that's what I'm trying to do. But if
Let me
they would
ask you
sit
this.
down and just actually think about it, they would see what it really was.
Let me ask you this, Coach.
Uh-huh.
From like most of our people, or most of like guys that I know in my peers, they may not have life insurance. So kind of give us an example from, just say, you know, for somebody on here, they may be 30 years old. From, if you wanted to invest 200 to 500 bucks a month from age 30 to say 50,
I'll tell you what we can do.
What would that look like?
I'm gonna get my phone out. I want if you got a phone and can get on it, I want you to go to investor.gov. Is everybody on there? Or close to it?
Yeah, mine's pulling up right now.
We got it up.
It's coming up. I don't know why my internet running slow, but it's pulling up. It's halfway up. And while you know, I guess everybody pulling it up, like this is like really, really important what he's telling us, because I would say in the next 10 or 15 years, it's not gonna be no Social Security for us to fall back on or nothing like that. So
no, it's gonna be, you know, they talking about now trying to cut it off.
That's most definitely the way it's looking. 10, 15 years, our generation won't have no Social Security when we get
Right.
65. And then not even that. If it was Social Security, they're taking the age limit up so high, but the age of people dying is getting lower. So even if you was to get, if our generation was to get it fat, it'd probably be up to 70 or 71 by then.
Yeah, I doubt if we even had anywhere close to
Yeah,
being
we most definitely probably not gonna have it when we get eligible for that.
And the reason the reason I sent y'all investor.gov because that's not a Primerica site. This is a government site, and everybody can use it. Go to the compound interest calculator. We see it?
Yeah, I got it pulled up.
All right. For your initial investment, we're gonna start. Let's see. We got income tax, so we can hustle up. We got $1,000. We're gonna start off with $1,000 for your initial investment. $1,000.
Okay.
We're gonna put $200 monthly contribution. We're gonna put $200 a month. The longest level term we got is 35 years. So we got a term insurance for 35 years.
Anybody else got the site up? Because mine moving tremendously slow.
Yeah, I got the site up.
You putting the numbers in? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
What was the initial when you said?
Initial investment is $1,000.
Okay.
We're gonna do $200 a month.
All right. 35
years. Estimated interest rate, we're gonna do 9%. And we're gonna scroll down. We're not gonna put anything for interest rate variance range. I want you to scroll down and hit calculate. Your compound frequency should be annual.
Yeah.
What y'all come up with?
538, 119.78.
All right. So the question is, I didn't go out to eat. I didn't buy this new shirt once a month. I paid myself $200 a month for 35 years. Do you need life insurance with $538,000 in the bank, cash money?
Not at all.
Average funeral is what, $9,000, $10,000?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, so now we got enough money in the bank. Something happens to mama, bury mama. Something happens to daddy, bury daddy. Pass this money to the kids, build a generational wealth.
There you go. Okay.
But go back and go to your interest rate and put 2% for your estimated interest rate. Well, better yet, put 4%. Now, this is crazy part. Bank's not going to give you 4%, but look what 4% gives you over 35 years.
So what number y'all come up with 4% over 35 years?
180,000.
711.43. Yep.
Now,
But okay.
one more thing. Put in 0.50.
For percentage.
Yes.
Whoa. 604,000.
No. 0.50.
Oh, okay.
That's a half a penny.
Okay. 92,739.
So you just missed out on $400 and some $1,000 fooling around with the bank over the same time.
There's $400,000 that the bank made.
Yes, because they got that 8-9%.
And see, I kind of get where you coming from. I get where you coming from because I had a insurance agent to tell me one day. Well, it was actually a black guy that was selling insurance to me. Him sat down and talk for a while, and he was just talking. And he was just letting me know about how some of the wealthy people, you know, how we look at a lot of us rather look at the other races, other communities, and we be just feeling like they just live so comfortable. And after conversating with that guy, I found out that a lot of those people look at their kids as investments. They get them life insurance, and when that child gets 16 or graduates high school, and we wondering how did they get a car, their parents drew down some of their money and got them a car.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it was most definitely an eye opener because I never thought that. You know, a lot of us think, well, especially when we was younger, a lot of us thought life insurance money, you ain't getting none of that money unless you die. And your family gonna get it, brother. We was
Well,
thinking like that was it.
back in the day, the dude used to come knock on your door to get that money out that
Yeah.
envelope.
Yeah, my grandma used to pay the guy right there, just come to the house and get it. Yep.
And you can't be mad at your folks, that's all they knew. But a lot of times when they passed, they still had to pay money on the funeral.
Yeah, that's the sad thing right there. Still
and not only that, as I got older, I started realizing that people who wasn't drawing their money down, like what you're talking about now, people who wasn't drawing their money down, some of those people, when they wind up dying and it's time for the life insurance to pay the money, they'll tell the people, nah, they was too old. Their insurance expired back here.
Oh, and they had whole life?
I'm not sure. I just heard about that a few times from some people. I'm not sure which insurance they had.
Well, this is the hustle on whole life. I got $100,000 policy over here. I built up $50,000 cash value, right? Both of them are my money, right?
Right.
When you die, how much are you supposed to get?
100,000, right?
Yeah.
How much you supposed to get?
100,000.
They say,
if
well,
it's
Mr.
mine,
Carr,
I'm supposed to get that.
well, Mr. Carr, you got a choice. You can either get the 100,000 or the 50,000 cash value. What are you gonna choose?
How much you? Well, how long is it gonna take me to get the 100?
Oh, you. As long as you send the death certificate in, we'll send you the money.
So what's the catch?
Where your
The catch is you got to send a
cash
death
value?
certificate in.
Where the $50,000 cash value going?
Back to the insurance.
To the bank.
Back to the insurance.
Okay.
All right. I got $100,000 worth of term, and I'll say the $50,000 in my mutual fund. How much does your family get?
They don't get it all.
They get a whole $150,000.
Right.
Because it's your money.
Okay. Let me ask you this: Do businesses even offer employees to have their money directly deposited to an account like this?
Some businesses do. Some businesses have most of them do group insurance. They do group insurance at work because you got a whole bunch of folks putting in there, so that's why it's so cheap. But the problem is, as soon as you get fired, Xavier, or get terminated or leave the business, you can't take that insurance with you.
Yeah.
And plus, I can take, as a business owner, I can take that insurance from you when I get ready.
Okay. So what advice would you give a 30-year-old right now? I would say, look, let me sit down with you and put together your investment a portfolio or whatever, how much you need to invest the money based on, say they made $100,000 a year. Because why I ask you that, because most of these guys, say they make an average salary. Yeah, they make an average salary. All right, because like the reason why I ask, because I mean, with all of the violence and everything that's going on within the young people in our community, like they really need to understand what you're saying.
Let me speak to your violence right quick. We was messing around with some friends. I said, I've got a way to stop the killing of young black men. They said, how? I said, if you put $1 million worth of insurance on every black male that's born, insurance companies will stop you from killing black men.
You're right. You're exactly right about that.
I bet the NRA will get right then. Yeah, they'll get the NRA right on them.
Every black kid born, if you put $1 million worth of insurance, these white folks will stop you from killing them because they can't pay out that money.
You're exactly right.
Damn, I ain't never thought of it.
And them insurance companies will go after them police forces in states and stuff like that.
They will make the NRA get right.
NRA gonna get right, yeah. Yeah.
Now, I'll sit down with you, look at your budget, especially husband and wife, look at your budget. And we try to teach people get 5 to 8 times what your salary is. That way, husband passed, you pay the house off and all. Your wife has money coming in where she ain't got to struggle. Pay the house off, pay the cars off, put some money back for the kids go to college, and get her $1,000, $2,000 coming in. It won't bring your whole check back, but we take care of the house and all that. So she's comfortable. I hear a lot of guys, it's gonna sound crazy. Man, I ain't putting all that insurance on. My wife ain't gonna be spending all that money on another man. Well, she gonna have some help if you don't put something in place.
That's just a small-minded thinking person right there.
Because at the end of the day, when a husband passed, bank gonna call, ma'am, I'm sorry, Miss Smith, I'm sorry your husband passed and all, but we still need the house note.
Right.
They ain't trying to hear that. They understand it all. They still trying to get their in, but you put a plan in place to pay off all that and still have money left for your kids, take care of your kids, take care of your wife, and take care of the bills. Life insurance is not for the person that's living. It's for the person that's passing. Now, the investment part is for the person that's living.
Right.
You outlive your policy. You outlive your term life, and you've invested. You sitting there $500,000-$600,000 in the bank, plus your retirement. Life is pretty good.
Life is great. So, what's the shortest term policy you can get?
10 years.
10 years.
But insurance is based on age and health. I know when I was young, I never thought I'd be old. I don't consider myself old now, but I'm closer to 100 than I am 1. So the older you get, the more expensive life insurance is. No matter how much you work out now, the older you get, life insurance is higher. I tell young folks, get as much as you can afford while you're young.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of us then let those, I ain't gonna say golden years, but a lot of us then let those younger years pass by. So now we face to go up here and have to pay a higher monthly rate because of age now.
But it's still affordable. It's cheaper than this right here. It's cheaper than a cell phone bill. Life insurance, I tell folks, I said, you got insurance. I had a conversation with a guy one day. I said, what type of insurance you got? I said, what type of phone you got? He said, got iPhone, got insurance on it? He said, yeah. I said, well, why you hadn't got insurance on you and your family and got insurance on your phone?
Sure.
The day that phone goes in the trash.
Now that you say it like that, that's like putting money in the 401k. People put money in the 401k but don't have life insurance. And if that company fold out the blue, because there's some companies that did it. If the company fold out the blue, y'all got to go through a whole court process for you to try to get a dime back. And
most times you're not gonna have enough money. Well, you go through the court process, but your lawyer gonna cut your feet out of money to get his little taste change.
Yeah, that's why I say that's kind of crazy that people put so much in 401k of a business that's basically using your money to do their maintenance and open up other businesses and blah blah blah. But if that building closed, that company just goes bankrupt out the blue and give you no warning, you done lost that whole every dime you put in there.
Let me ask you this, Coach. How would it work if I just put insurance on my newborn baby, a 35-year term life insurance policy? So when my baby turns 35, we make it to 35, he'll be able to collect all of that money?
No, you have to do the baby have to be a rider. They have to be a rider on your policy. Now you can set up a minor Roth IRA for your child and put money in that Roth IRA.
What type of interest, what type of percentage come with that, with an account like that?
We put in the same stuff we do in mutual funds, so it can go anywhere from 4 to 8 to 9 to 10%. Okay. Anytime you're dealing with a mutual fund, it's gonna be better than what they give you at the bank. A mutual fund is basically if all of us have businesses and we all pool our money in. When we make money, we give money to each other.
Okay, can you kind of explain CDs a little bit to everybody?
Ooh, so we
Is
don't.
that a good option? I mean, do you deal with it?
I would say no, because on the CD you're gonna get what 1%, 2%, 3%.
Okay.
But what the bank's doing with your money?
Reinvestment.
So why not
And you
just?
can't touch that CD for a while.
Yep. And if you set up, what if you set up a regular mutual fund account? You can access that money, but you'll pay taxes on it. Now you set up a Roth IRA or traditional IRA. You can't touch it till you're 59 and a half without major tax penalties on it. If you touch it before 59 and a half, they're gonna hit you for about 30%.
And what happens if you don't live to 59 and a half?
Whoever you put down as beneficiary, that money goes to them.
Okay. So how do some people? I've heard stories of people. Well, I know somebody that I know personally. They had insurance policies through their job, and I don't know how it went down, but the money ended up going back to the company. Well,
because the company controls your insurance policy. You don't control it.
Okay. Even though I was paying money into it for X amount of years,
if I decide when I wake up in the morning, everybody that ain't been working here 10 years, I'm canceling their insurance. We ain't got insurance for them. You just shot.
Whew. Now that I did not know.
Always have insurance on yourself. Don't rely on a job to help take care of your family afterwards. Because they control your insurance.
And then you not here no more, they can find whatever loophole they want to.
It's always a loophole. Had a guy backing out the yard, got hit by an 18-wheeler. They did the autopsy, say he had a heart attack. What the insurance company said? He had a heart attack,
oh, wow,
which caused him to get hit. So it wasn't an accident.
man,
so now I ain't got to pay.
Wow. I mean, if you look at it, it ain't too much different than the street. Xavier, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody trying to eat it. Everybody trying to get out on everybody.
You know,
and a job ain't no different.
Everybody talks about insurance. I've been in this business since 2013. I have seen people when we first do a policy, they take one payment out as soon as you send it in, between 12 and 48 hours. And everybody said, well, why they do that? Because if you hadn't lied on your stuff and something happens to you in the 12 to 48 hours and they were going to issue that policy, they're going to pay you. Ain't no 2 year, ain't no 2 year waiting period. Now, if something happened to you in them 2 years, they're going to investigate. Well, say everything came back, you healthy and all. Something happened, you have a heart attack or get hit. And in 2 years, okay, everything on this health thing was good. Something happened to it, we're going to pay. And we pay between 7 and 14 days. I've delivered checks from $50,000 to $250,000. And it's a difference when you walk in there and hand somebody a check for $250,000.
That's a big difference. That's a relief. You're already going through what you're going through.
There's nothing I can do to bring your loved one back.
Make life a little bit easier though.
But I can ease some pain you got.
Okay. So like I say, what would you tell the ladies that had sons and little small daughters right now that's actually working and that has a chance or that may be interested? Like, tell them how they can reach you, or how they can contact you to get more information.
Oh, you can reach me at 601-319-3238, or you can message me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn.
Okay.
But
Chad,
this is crazy part. This is crazy part. What I want to tell you, we've got a thing called increasing benefit rider, and I tell all two things: increasing benefit rider and waiver premium. I always add waiver premium to my policies, and it costs the client maybe $2-3. Waiver premium states that if you become disabled and can't work, once you send in your paperwork, they'll start making the payments for you until you become undisabled. Or if you get a terminal illness, you send your paperwork in, you can take up to 70% of this money out and use as you see fit.
That's huge.
And increasing benefit rider, you know, you were talking about a budget. Say you got a budget and you know, you don't make a whole bunch of money now. Well, you get $100,000 worth of coverage. Well, increasing benefit rider, every year on your anniversary, they're going to send you a form. You can raise your policy up by 10% for the next 10 years. Well, your policy may go up $3, $4, or $5, but you got $10,000 more coverage. So in 10 years, you double whatever your policy is, fitting your budget. You see what I'm saying? You can raise your policy up. You can double your policy over 10 years.
And what type of what is that called again?
It's called increasing benefit rider.
Okay.
You think about it, if I got a $200,000 policy, every year, if I keep my increasing benefit rider, my policy is going to go up $20,000 every year. So now in 10 years, I got $400,000 worth of coverage.
Okay. Now, what's the thing I hear about, like, people talk about nowadays? They say you can borrow money on your insurance policy. How would that work? Or is that just a myth in our community?
Well, we don't do it. That may be an IUL or a whole life policy. We can't borrow money on a straight term because we're just like car insurance. You only use us if somebody die.
Okay.
That's why we set up your mutual fund on the side. You mess around here in your mutual fund account and got $50,000 in your mutual fund account. Either you can set up your account where you can go into it, or you call me and say, Milton, I need $50,000 out of my account. Okay, give me about 10 minutes. I'm gonna open up my computer, go in there, hit a few buttons, and mash a button. I'm gonna say in 96 hours that money will be in your account.
Okay. So let me look in the chat and see if anybody had any questions in the chat.
Young lady, did you have a question?
I didn't have any questions. You pretty much answered everything because I have several life insurance policies, but you gave me a different perspective. Because some policies I had that my grandmother had taken out on me, and after she passed, they just transferred over to me, and then I had some on my children. So you
got whole life policies?
I got term life on me. I got one whole life on me, one term life on me, and 2 whole life on my kids.
And you know, for every whole life policy, they charge you a policy fee. So they charge you a policy fee on you and one for both of your kids. Well, with us, you get term life. Put your kids on as riders, you get one policy fee, you cover your whole family.
Okay. See, the term life that I have, that I did for myself, I had my kids as riders on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole life policies that I have on my children, those my grandmother took out whenever they were born, and whenever she passed, all of that stuff just transferred over to me. So I didn't know any details really. I just did the paperwork to transfer the ownership of the policies over.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to sit down with you and see can we consolidate that so you'll have one payment to cover your whole family.
Right, I would like to too. I was gonna message you, after this so I could talk with you more about it because I feel like I got a lot of information from you today and more understanding.
And see what you can do. You can consolidate those policies, get you one policy, save some money, and then take the money that you save and then start open up your mutual fund account.
Right.
So now you just start pumping money in that mutual fund account.
Right. Well, I'm definitely going to contact you after this so that we can sit down and talk about it.
I'm good to work every day, probably except for Saturday. And I will work Saturday. That's my anniversary. But if you call, I ain't going to turn down, sit down, talk with somebody.
I ain't going to call on Saturday. I'm called during the week.
Hey, let me tell you something. My wife knows if somebody called me talk about some insurance or some investment, he probably going to get about the bed and answer that phone.
Well, I'm most likely gonna be contacting you as well because it's you. I got a lot that I need.
I've spoke to because I've had different policies through different people and different companies that I've never had someone sit down and explain it like you have.
The reason I love what I do, I'm from Star. I ain't going nowhere. I can't mess over you because I ain't gonna be dogging you in Walmart at the gas station because I didn't know you. My thing, I tell folks all the time, if I sit down and do business with you, we can go out to eat the next day. I can call you, we can hang out because I know I hadn't done nothing wrong. I can go to sleep at night.
Right.
And plus, this is all I got on my family. On my kids, my wife, my brother, sister, my mama. I believe in it.
Okay. So, is there anything else you want to, any other message you want to get out there to our community, to the youth? Just any messages on your heart and anything else about what you do you want to get out there before we let you go?
Biggest thing is I want to tell folks, we've been taught all our lives to work till you 62, retire, get Social Security, hang on, till you die. While the other side's been taught, money's supposed to work for you, not you work for money. Your body's not designed to work that long. If you start young, start investing, put money back, you don't have to work till you're 62, 65, 70. You think these 70-year-olds sitting in Waffle House and at Walmart want to be there? They're there because they have to be there. Not because they want to be there. We got to tell our youth, don't believe the hype, all the hype you see on TV. Because you see a lot of those guys pass and don't have life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sell enough fish to bear nobody. I don't care how many fish places you sell, still gonna be hard to put somebody in the ground.
Right.
Okay. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on. I hope everybody got learned something and contact reach out to him and sit down, and I'm sure he'll be able to go into a little bit more in depth with y'all, personally, on a personal level. So
Wait,
I appreciate you.
Zay,
Go
before
ahead.
you go, Mr. Smith, like we done talked about all this, and everybody, we know that you're a successful person and had a pretty good life. But I'm gonna ask this because a lot of people look at everybody who's doing good as though they always was doing good. So did you just have any struggles along the way before success or doing success as a black man?
Man, I struggle all my life. Every day is a struggle. Hey, I look at life a lot different too, though. When you've had to bury, I had to bury a coach in 2006. I saw him on a Wednesday. We had practice on a Wednesday, short day Wednesday. He said, "Coach, I'll be over in a little bit. Go get some beer. I got to cut my grass." My next call was come to the hospital. They found him in the yard. He died that night. I saw him Wednesday, September 20th, 2006. He was dead that night. I thought about it then. Life is short. There's some valleys and there's some high points. Never get too high, never get too low. Always keep grinding. Enjoy yourself and help who you can help. That's my thing. Help who you can help, and teach people. The biggest thing now, I don't want to be in competition with you. Even if we're in the same business, if I can help you, I'm help. You know what I'm saying? I was just taught to be nice to everybody, and that levels out.
All right, Coach. How long you say you and your wife been married? What your anniversary?
It'll be 28 years Saturday.
Okay, we talk a lot of relationship stuff on the show now. Now you gotta give the fella some advice on how you stay married that long. How do it.
Great grace of God, and I got a good woman. We actually got married probably a week before I became a football coach. So she became a coach's wife within a week of us being married. So she's been real supportive. Do what you're supposed to do. Women are treasures, and treat them as such. I ain't, I'm not with no man putting his hand on a woman. I ain't gonna do all that arguing. Never put your hand on a woman. And love on a woman. And you gotta you gotta date her. You gotta date her.
Okay. Somebody
You gotta gotta continue to date them. See, that's a lot of our problem. We date them in the beginning, and once we got them, and those years go past, we feel like we can slack up on what made them feel special in the first place. To us, it's just normal life, but to them, you slacked up on what was making me feel special in the first place.
Yeah. And, be respectful. Nothing leaves outside the house. No arguments leave outside the house.
We talked about that the other day.
I'm so glad you brought that up. It's with social media nowadays, it's kind of hard for that not to be outside the house. I'm not saying personally, but with social media, you see a lot of people being on social media.
Hey, my wife gonna kill me. She's washing her hair because I fussed her about washing her hair last night. I've been together for 28 years. So I've been together for 28 years. Tell them. They want to know. They know we've been together for 28 years. They know you washing your hair. She gotta go work tomorrow.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing though. 28 years. Hey, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
and happy anniversary to y'all. Happy early anniversary to y'all.
She's ashamed to show y'all with a thing on. She was fussing at because she need to get the dry hair. But you got to learn to have a good time together too, though.
That's right.
You got to learn each other. She had friends asking, I can't believe you let your husband buy all them cars and play with them cars. And she said, that's what he does. He's been doing it. He was doing that before we met. That's what keeps him sane. He buys and plays the car. That's my thing.
Hey, what's up, man? You want to chime in? Your stage name, White Boy. What's going on, brother?
Hey, yeah, I was just finna say something about that. He want to know the topic. He wants you to tell him the topic again.
Oh, we haven't got to the topic yet, but we was featuring Coach Milton Smith, and he was just giving us some game on life insurance and building wealth, and protecting our families. But the topics for tonight are who's responsible for most single-parent households, and what's the second topic, Chad?
The effects of gambling and substance abuse on relationships.
Okay,
yeah. What are some of the effects? Yeah, the effects of substance abuse, alcoholism, and gambling on relationships.
Yep. So we're gonna jump into those once we let Coach go. And if you want to chime in, brother, you're welcome to.
He said his speaker broke.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
he just here to hear.
Okay.
But that was beautiful, Coach Milton. I love seeing you and your wife, just seeing y'all together, just seeing. So the energy felt good, man.
Oh, we cut up now.
That's a really beautiful thing in today's time.
She's just she just lost her mom. I'm gonna give y'all a crazy sad story. Her mom had stage 4 lung cancer for the last couple of months. Been dog sick, and she said, baby, we need to get away. Well, my son was playing ball in Colorado. We're going to Colorado. Luckily, well, not luckily, he got cut. So he came home, got a chance to see his grandmama before she passed. She says, well, let's still go somewhere. So we go to Sandestin 2 Sundays ago. We drive to Sandestin, get there, get checked in our room about 7 o'clock. At 8:30, she gets a call. Mom is passed. We turn around and drive back home from Sandestin right then. And I say this to say that life is short. She struggled a bunch with that. But now it's just me and her. If that makes sense. My mom's still living, but it made us closer because I'm here for her all the time, but I've got to be present mentally and physically all the time now.
Right.
I'm her. I'm the one that knows when she's having a bad day. I can look at her and tell that's how much we're around each other. I can look at her and tell if she's having a bad time or bad day. You got to spend time with your spouse just sitting around doing nothing. We sit around, play on the phone, go out to the shop. We actually go out to the shop and turn music on and have parties ourselves, just me and her. Dancing.
Now that's dope right there.
Yeah, that is. I'm trying to be doing that.
Those are goals, because I think we all aspire as men, to have a long-term partnership like that, a best friend kind of and that you can just enjoy each other's company. Especially as you get, as we get older as men, I think we crave that a lot more.
What you think
Yeah,
about? You see a lot of these
right.
guys 50, 60 years old and single. You sitting at the house, you get sick, can't nobody help you. You ain't
And
got
ain't
nobody to
nobody
talk
gonna
to.
help you.
You sit up in a nursing home and some stranger, you depend on the stranger to bathe you and wash you, and you ain't got no real companionship.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something about her before I get off the phone. I've laid in my bed before I had a back surgery for a week and couldn't get out of bed. And for me to stand up as a 50-year-old man and let a woman bathe me out of wash pan, you talk about humbling.
Yeah, that's very much.
Somebody's
Mm-hmm.
used to getting up, having to do stuff themselves. I remember laying in the bed and rolling over, well, not rolling over, crying and asked her, will you please turn me over? Because I couldn't turn over in the bed. You got to find, and then, I tell folks, you'll know when you meet that one. Because I was the brother that wasn't going to never get mad. I would never get mad. And I found myself up in Montgomery Jewelry buying a doggone engagement ring. I went to Coach Williams' house, knocked on his door, said, man, I'm finna get mad. He said, man, you lying. I reached in my pocket and showed him the ring. He said, damn, you are finna get mad. And
Hey,
been married ever since.
what was it the thing? How long did y'all date before y'all were married?
Started, I think we was engaged in 6 months.
Whoa. I was about to ask the question of how long was it before you knew she was the one, but you just answered it.
It happened. I don't know. It just happened. One of them deals where you wake up like, shit, this is all right. She got sense. She go to church. She can cook. She ain't crazy. What I'm looking for. I wasn't asking for much. I just wanted somebody. A man wants peace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes.
If you could give a man peace, he'll be all right.
But see, Coach, it's good. I'm glad you said that about spending time with each other. Nowadays, it's kind of hard for that quality time, and I keep on going back to social media.
The
Because
devices.
nowadays, these devices have so many people attention. I have dated a person before, though. When we sit down and eat dinner, ain't no phones allowed out at the table unless it's playing some music. That's about as far as they go. And I loved it. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I be wanting to reach in my pocket and get it, But other than that, most people, when they around each other and it's just them, they both in their phones. Or you can go to Longhorn Steakhouse right now, or find whatever restaurant and go there right now. It's a nice upscale restaurant. And the younger generation, if it's a couple up in there, I guarantee you, within 10 minutes of them being there, one of them or both will have their phone in their hand.
Well, we fight that demon too. Because we'll get in the bed and I'm on Facebook Marketplace looking at cars, seeing what folks got to sell. And she's on the phone playing a video game. But she knows when one of us put the phone down, the other puts the phone down.
Yeah. I think we just got away from, as people, men and women, women and women, we got away from communicating. Real life communicating. It's all, it make it so convenient and easy for us to not have to interact with each other because of social media, because of text messaging, because of the technology we got right now. Just look at what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
So I think if we can get back to just naturally communicating with each other, we'll solve a lot of these household problems, and relationships last longer and they'll be a lot stronger like they were. We'll have a lot of 20 to 30, 40, 50-year marriages. Like nowadays, what's the average? The average marriage lasts about 2.5 years now?
If that.
I was about to say the same thing. If that.
But you got to go into this thing on a communication deal, because when we were young, we went through struggles, but we sat down one day and I said, well, we can't get a divorce. And she looked at me and I said, because nobody else, my kids are called nobody else stepdad. Nobody else daddy but me. And she looked at me, she said, well, they ain't gonna call nobody else mama either. So baby, I guess we stuck. We're gonna have to make it happen. and you just learn that I ain't going nowhere, she ain't going nowhere, and no problems too big where you can't sit down and talk about it.
I think we got to learn to compromise too. Everybody
Yes.
want to be the big person. You know, I ain't giving this up, but I want you to get that up. I don't want to stop doing this, but I want you to stop doing it. I think compromise. And then as far as like what you were saying, Xavier, about how short the marriages are nowadays, I feel like marriages are shorter now because people are rushing into them before they even get to know the person. I feel like
Well,
people are getting. I
and
feel
I
like
Grant,
people
have
hold
are
on.
getting
something to
Go
married.
ahead,
say.
Chad.
I have something to
Go ahead.
say on that about rushing them before they get to know a person. I feel like because of social media, we have got stuck in living in this facade. So when we get to know a person, we're not really getting to know the real person. We're not even
Yep.
giving the person the real us because we're worried about how it's going to look on paper. So when I come to you, I'm stuck in this honeymoon thing and you are too, and now you end up with somebody that you don't really even know because y'all couldn't keep it real from the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, but let me
Exactly.
say this right here too. Social media is a weapon and it can be a curse for men. Just think about it. If you got a cute girl nowadays, she get mad at you. All she gotta do is post on social media. I'm single. 5,000 men. She gonna have 5,000 options in her inbox.
What? Okay.
Back in the day, only men that was seeing the women back in the day was the men in the neighborhood, at the grocery store, maybe at the workplace.
Right.
Nowadays, it's even for women, it's so men got so many options and choices now because of social media, and I think that ruins relationships too, where people think they have options. You know,
And
Yeah.
then and then piggybacking on that, even if they don't post single, they have so many people that's
true,
DMing them
true.
and inboxing them daily that in the subconsciously they automatically thinking I ain't gotta have this anyway. If I don't want to, I got option here, 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 here. So you leaving your mind open to leaving more than you are leaving your mind locked in to staying because of all the
And
options you see. And it's the same for men as well now. It go both ways.
And piggybacking on that, it goes into people only show what they want you to see on social media. So you on social media and you thinking you got all these options that look so great. Well, really, none of that stuff is what it's cracked up to be because these people are living a lie on social media.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it. And I like what you said, Chad, that's so true. But you know what's so crazy? I didn't see people on social media a lot talking about how social media is fake. And this, and other. Most people on here are not the person that they claim to be.
That's
But
it.
you know the problem on the flip side of that though?
What's
Majority
the
of people
problem?
still look at social media and try to be like what they see people on social media being.
Yeah, then you right. You are 100% correct.
And to me, it's weird. It's like it's just weird to me. Like I know all of this is not real, but I'm still trying to be this
Keep
person
up,
or either
keeping up with the
keep up with
Joneses.
what they exactly. And I hate that.
Right.
Like I, that I don't say the word hate much, but I hate to. I don't want to date no woman trying to keep up with everybody else. Like to
Yeah.
me, that's not
Hmm.
possible. I don't. That ain't gonna get us nowhere. If you trying to keep up with what everybody else doing, oh they said, or this did. Like I want a new couch because I just seen 3 people post. They'll never tell you that's why they want it, but you just
Yeah.
seen these people on social media showing these brand new living rooms and this, that, this, and the other. So now you chasing that dream there, and it's like, nah, because how can you ever be happy trying to be somebody else? It ain't. I can't see
Hmm.
that being possible.
But them
How
same
can
Hmm.
folks
you?
may not have a pot to piss in or one to throw it out of. It's
You're
just
right. They
Most
Facebook.
of
might
them
have
It's
just
use
ran
Facebook
up their
both.
design.
credit card,
Most,
fake social security to go get the new couch, and then they're gonna be
yeah,
on for it next month. Yo.
and the ones who might got the pot to piss in, you ain't gonna have it long trying to keep up with everybody else.
No.
Right about that, Tate. We're gonna kind of pivot a little bit. Coach, let me ask you this: you've been in the school system and you've been dealing with young men for a long time. Like our first topic tonight is who do we think is more to blame for the single parent household we see in our community now, and what are some of the things that you think we can do to kind of fix or eliminate that?
The single parent household is deeper than community. The single parent household started from the government because once I emasculate a man, a woman has no need for him. So If a woman has children, I'm giving her money. She thinks I don't need a man to help raise kids. The government started that when you think about a lady that's getting a lot of subsidies, she can't have a man stand in her house or her money cuts off. So where's daddy at now?
Out the house.
Out the house, not with his kids. If you keep a black family together, man and wife together with their kids, they're probably going to be successful. Back in the 60s and 70s, when men were still in the house, you didn't have all this.
And see, I was telling them about a book the other day. I think I told there was some me and Xavier somebody that made me bring it up. It's a book called A New Jim Crow, and in that book, it talks about that exact thing, about how they try to separate the black family. They try to bust down that household because if they can take the man out, especially if they can incarcerate him, if they can take that man out that household, the chances of one of those kids, if not all, following in his footsteps because they trying to help mama make it are highly. And then guess what? Now you got the father, now you turn around and got the son, and now the mother out here struggling. So there's no telling what she's gonna do. And it's just a cycle.
What I want to ask Coach, like you old enough to have lived through that era. So like you think public housing and assistance for women, that's a direct effect.
That hurts the black family.
Yeah.
That hurt the black family because most black men get children will work.
We just said this the other day.
We just said that.
Most black men want to be fathers to their kids, fathers to their daughters. But if you put them in a situation where they can't be around, they got to grind, they got to do what they got to do, they're going to do it to survive.
Exactly.
Now,
y'all hear that, young ladies on here? Most black men want to be in their child's life.
And on our end, we got to teach our kids critical thinking. And when I say critical thinking, Xavier, me and you have an issue, a gun ain't going to solve it.
Correct.
Because I tell them at school all the time, once you pull that trigger, ain't no more my bad. Ain't no more my bad. Folks now, you scared to take that law with these hands. But if you take a law with these hands, you'll be able to fight another day.
You know why they so scared to take the L? You know why they so scared to listen, Tate, you know why they so scared to take the L? And I know this is probably your point. Because of social media. Nobody wants to be humiliated. Like nowadays, everybody gonna see you. You might go viral. The girls laughing at you. You're looking like a lame. And you got kids nowadays that'll rather pull the trigger than to be humiliated. And that's
I wasn't gonna put it on social media. I wasn't gonna say it, but that's the point. I was just gonna say a lot of them doing it because they afraid of what they gonna hear behind that embarrassment.
Yeah,
right. They don't want that street accreditation to go somewhere.
Exactly. So I would rather shoot you and do 60, but my partner's gonna say I ain't no punk.
Right.
And that is so crazy.
Now that's just the mentality of a kid who's been raised by music, raised by bad influences, and then I'll go back to the question, what we talking about now. How do we combat and get fathers back into the household? And it ain't gonna happen with 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. That ain't gonna happen. I'm saying to the youth, how do we, teach our sons and daughters to become husbands and wives again? Like,
put more high power in it and take more people out of it.
Say it again.
That's how I look at it. I say put more higher power into it and take people out of it. People like no matter what you believe in, no matter what higher power is you believe in, people have steered away from all of it. People are steering away from all of it. Back in the day, it wasn't no such thing to me when I grew up. Now, my grandmother was a pastor, though, but it wasn't no such thing. When I moved to Mississippi as a kid, it wasn't no option of was I going to church on a Sunday or Sunday night or for prayer or for Bible. That wasn't even an option. You see what I'm saying? So nowadays, like back then when people was at soul night on Sunday nights, I'm at church. Usually. It's some nights she'll let me go if it wasn't no service or something like that. But nowadays, it's hard to do that because the parents is at the club with the kids.
Yep.
So they ain't getting
Yeah,
up going
you
to church
right.
Sunday neither.
You right.
So how you gonna teach your child any type of balance? I don't care if you're praying to Allah, if you're praying to God, if you're praying to whoever you're praying to. You got to have something to keep the kids balanced. If they don't know nothing but rap songs, R&B songs, guns,
So I mean, it's a
iPads,
question.
cell.
Do you remove rap from the household? Would you
I
be
don't
willing to
think
do that with your
I don't.
children?
I don't think they should. You should remove rap from the household. I think it starts at what I'm saying. Who had this child? You know what I'm
balance.
saying. You could a child. You could put 10 kids in a room and show them a lot of stuff, and you might have 5 of them want to be just like what you showed them, and 5 of them know right from wrong. I feel like it's about what you instill in them because even when they get away from you, whether it's a friend on the playground at school, at the lunch table, or with these phones nowadays, they're going to bump into something, and you can't really shelter them from everything. And at some point, I feel like sheltering starts to hinder. You know what I'm saying? Versus,
Too
letting them
much
know
shelter.
yeah, too much shelter. Like
Yeah,
I say,
that
I
is
say,
true.
I say we should, keep them from certain things at certain ages and certain things you're not supposed to know about. But as me being a father to a daughter and a son, and me raising a son and raising my daughter, you know what I'm saying? I know I have to put certain things in them because I know they're gonna bump into certain things a little bit quicker than we did because everything is so fast now.
Mhm.
It's like you gotta
That's
be
why I
there.
say
You
that's
gotta
why I say
instill
you
it in
gotta
them.
have something. You gotta have something to create that balance. Like I'm not trying to take you out of the complete world, but I gotta have something to balance you out. You got to see something else more positive than just me doing my lifestyle. So I gotta put something else in you to make basically it's like this. A
And
lot
if
of these
you
kids
gotta
don't
live
even know they
according to how
doing
you
wrong.
want them to live.
Exactly. A lot of these kids don't even know that they doing wrong spiritually because they ain't being taught it. They
Exactly.
not they not
What?
thinking about heaven or hell. They thinking about doing what they doing right now. That's it. They ain't
Was
got no conscience. A lot of them don't even have a conscience because
was
they
what
ain't
he
been
Yeah.
taught that.
was what he said earlier though. You got to teach them right from wrong, and you got to hammer
Exactly.
them with right from wrong and tell them why it's right and tell them why it's wrong. And I
Because you
know,
can put six. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I know me. I used to think my mom was the meanest woman in the world. She wouldn't let me go here, wouldn't let me go there. When I
Mhm.
got older,
That's how I was.
I was like, that's why you wouldn't let me go here. That's
Mhm.
why I couldn't go to every club. And I tell my kids that now, Daddy, you be so mean. Everything ain't what it seems.
You will get it one day.
Yes. And
Because
everything,
the main parent and that main thing might keep you away from, going to that shadow part or they or catching that one disease or doing something like sometimes when you step in that gap, and a lot of times you gotta rely on your spiritual asset to really, know what's going on. Cause like back in the day when your mama call you out the blue and you got something going on, you doing some stuff or you got a lot going on and shit. Like I just felt like I need to call you. Like it put it on me to call you and tell
mhm,
you woo, 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 woo. You
Mhm.
gotta really tap into that and really be knowing your child, you know what I'm saying? So you can be able to guide them the right way. Cause a lot of things you ain't gonna see, a lot of things you ain't gonna hear, you know what I'm saying, as a parent. You just gotta know how to operate in that, realm when you trying to deal with building your child and not tearing them down so much to where create a whole new individual or push them so far in the closet where they don't want to be honest with you. It's a fine line on how you do that, I feel like.
yes, it is. Very fine.
Man, you just said a mouthful, like
Yeah,
pushing your
you
children so
did.
hard that they don't want to be honest with you. I mean, I think that plays a big role in children's and mother and father relationships right there. A lot of
Hey
from
y'all,
what hey, how you doing?
good. Can I say so? I ain't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
You good? Go ahead. E.
Okay. So here's the thing I learned before I became a mother. I heard Steve Harvey said have a relationship with your child to where they can come to you and say things because the street will tell them something and they won't be there to get them out of the mess that they have taught my child. So make sure that you have an open communication with them to where they know whatever you go through or whatever questions you may have, I'm here to help you. I'm going to give you the honest opinion. I love you regardless.
And that starts at a very young age because I was just telling someone last night how I talk to my kids now. Um, I have a very open line of communication with my kids, and my kids are only 6 and 5. and I let them know that they can talk to me versus fussing at them and making them fear me. I let them know that they can talk to me and they can come to me and tell me the truth and tell me the things what's going on and how they're feeling, so they don't never feel scared and shy away from being open with me.
Exactly. But you still got that balance of I'm still mama. I'm
Yeah, they
not your
know I
friend.
don't play now. They know I don't
Yes,
play.
and see that's I feel like that's a lot of people's a lot of problems with the younger generation with kids because they don't know, like he said, they don't know how to thread that fine line. It's
Yeah,
either I'm too strict or I'm your friend. And if your
yeah.
Hey,
child
And
look
we
at you, if your child look at you as a friend, your child gonna act, talk, do, and it's gonna be hard for you to discipline them because you're a
but and
friend and not a parent.
Tay,
you
let me
gotta
ask
look
you
at it
this.
in this day.
Let me ask the two
Ooh, can I?
fathers this, because I heard both mothers say they had a common denominator. Both of them talked about how they communicate with their children. Is it an issue that are y'all communicating on that level with y'all children as men?
I feel
I
like
talk
you can go ahead, bro. I go behind you.
me, I
Yeah,
communicate with my kids about any and everything that's respectful. Like my kids know one thing. They can call me, text me, whatever, and talk to me about any problem or about anything they feeling. Like I had my daughter call me and I was incarcerated. And she called me to talk about how she was feeling depressed. And when I get that type of call, the first thing going through my mind because kids been taking themselves out because of it. So I talked to her. We talked. She was outside sitting in the car, and she called me at like 2 in the morning. So we sat there and we talked. My kids, but they know I'm daddy too. They know daddy was straighten you. Like daddy still believe in whooping. That's me. But it's like you can talk to me about anything though. I had to talk to my child about homosexuality because she likes women. We had that conversation. We had depression conversations. My younger son talks to me about any and everything. But as I said, I don't cross the lines of too strict, and I don't cross the lines where you think I'm just your friend as well.
no, I feel that for sure. I'm to piggyback off the question he asked. I have a 5-year-old daughter and I have a 2-year-old son, but it kind of hit me kind of hard at home because I'm dealing with a few things with trying to be there in my daughter's life and fighting that kind of baby mom thing that everybody goes through. But I will say that my dad, me personally, the experience I've had, me and my dad have a transparent relationship where I respect him wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? Is I'm always, treating him like my dad, but I also know that my dad was probably like, when I say that fine line, he is probably to me the most best, example of that fine line trading because the same mouth that I will tell him everything with is the same mouth that I will respect him with, the same mouth that I'm gonna say yes sir with, no sir with, you know what I'm saying? Like I know how to be a son and he know how to be my dad, but we still I could be around my dad every day, 7 days a week. That's how close we are. I ain't gotta hide me. I ain't gotta, be somebody else when I'm around him. And most kids do that when they're around their parents. Like you get the I'm around my parent me, but my dad gets me whether I'm finna go with my friends. I'm the same me getting out the car. I'm even more myself in front of him than I am my mom. So, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely communication on a man level. I feel like versus a mom, we always look at mom as like she get that ultimate respect being a woman, but communicating with your children and having that real, what I'm saying, talk level with them kind of along the lines in the future kind of holds you up to being that person that's like, I got the utmost respect for them, but if I end up killing somebody and I done hit them in the backyard, I done did something, this person finna be the first person I call. If I, feel like I'm finna go do something crazy or do something out of line that I wouldn't tell mom, he gonna be the first person I call. So I feel like communication will bring a lot of things to the surface when you're dealing with your kids, when they know they can talk to you and they know you're accepting as well. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to be able to be talked to, but to be accepting is always something that you can draw from with your kids. I feel like.
Did you grow up in a two-parent household, bro?
I did. My dad was incarcerated till I was about 7 years old. When I met him, you know what I'm saying, I had to like kind of learn them all over again. Like I ain't really he kind of was in and out a lot. My dad did a lot of incarceration all the way up until I was almost 22, 23 when he started just being around. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have too much of presence, but he was still there, you know, mentally as far as phone calls. And when he did get out here on the town, it was kind of like he made sure he was right there regardless of him being in there or not.
By your dad being in and out of your life, you feel like does that impact you on how you parent your children, or how you try to go about raising your children?
I mean, it's a big thing for me because I feel like history repeats itself a lot. You know what I'm saying? I really, you know, I be hard on myself about, you know, how I'm finna spend time with my kids, what I'm finna do with my kids. Like mostly with my son, he's probably with me, man, 24 hours out the day. And you know what I'm saying? If that's what's going on. Studio, wherever I'm going, it's kind of like a focal point for me to be there for him because I know how I felt when I did have my dad. And you know, me and my daughter is not really as close as me and my son, but it's kind of like one of them things where, you know, I got good on this end, but I ain't kind of good on that end, and I'm trying to battle with, you know, trying to be the better person, compromising even to the lowest extent to try to be in her life type. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be there for her. So it's definitely a big impact on you. You kind of think in the back of your head like, damn, is she thinking about me like I used to think about Pop when he wasn't there for me or when he didn't come to a graduation? Like it'd be a big weight to it at the same time because you don't want to be that person that you know, grew up saying you would never be, and then you end up being put in that position, not because of you, but just because of society and, you know, the baby mama, baby daddy type thing that the black community has going on. Is normally either she cool with you or she hates you. Either she let you see him or you can never see him. You know what I'm saying? There's always something going on in that area, I feel like.
I have a question. Do you feel like do you feel like it's anything that you do in your lifestyle that has impacted you and your situation with your daughter's mom?
I feel like I will say, right when I had my daughter, I got signed, and I went there for a lot of the, you know, first steps. You know what I'm saying? I was on tour with my CEO when she was even born. Like I kind of like certain things. I feel like I had to do to make money, but I kind of lost a few things down the line. I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect in the situation. I kind of owned up to a lot of the things that kind of kept me away. But I will say that I feel like far as the situation, it's a 50-50 thing on me and her part. I'm not just gonna throw the ship on her, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's a two-way street, you know what I'm saying? I get in my feels, I get to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna deal with it, but I also have to reiterate that, you know, it's a little person in this situation whose fault it's not. Like she hasn't done anything to deserve me not being there. So, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's little things that I beat myself up on with me being a first time dad and kind of trying to navigate my way through, you know, being on that type of time.
Uncle Milton, I got a question.
Shoot.
So, me and a couple of my friends have been talking. Do you think that it's best, being that we're on baby mama, baby daddy topic? Do you think that it's best that the parent have additional life insurance on the absent parent, like to help just in case that person dies? That life insurance will help in, raising and taking care of the child.
It would be a good idea, but both of them have to agree on it. Both
It's
parents
definitely
have.
this. Yeah, I feel like there's some two people got to agree on.
Yeah, because like he said earlier, y'all got to be able to get along because the child didn't ask to be here. So it's got to be
Erica,
it's got to be a mutual thing
Erica,
that
you know how many baby mamas will put their baby dad on policy on them and take them out?
Yeah,
A
but you
lot
didn't
of them.
think about it like that. Do you know how many men are being killed due to gun violence? So you shouldn't want your child to be left here and ain't got nobody to help the mother raise that child, like that's just careless. And then what you're doing is making your child think that, okay, I got to go back out here and do what my daddy did, go sell dope or go, do stuff like that, and that might end up putting them in prison. So why not set your child up for the future, so therefore you done did your part, even if you die.
It's a great idea, but both of them have to agree on it.
Yeah, I feel like that goes back to like what he said. Both of y'all got to be on the level of communication and getting along, because I could just imagine somebody not getting along with a person and then they hit them up like, "Hey, if you pass, I need to make sure I get this cash." There's just so much stuff that go through,
Yeah,
both people's minds when something like that come to. You know what I'm saying? It'll start an argument. It'll do a lot if y'all not on the same.
That sound more like one of those accounts that you was telling me about. What? Go over the account again. You said you can have for your children.
you can have a minor. You can have a minor Roth IRA for your child,
Yeah, you could definitely get an RA for your child.
and it's just for the child. But he won't be able to touch it till he's 18. So that parent's still gonna be over it until they hit 18.
Yep.
But wouldn't you have to deposit money into the Roth IRA in order for
Yes.
them to, right? So if you dead, that ain't gonna do no good. If you dead,
No.
you
But I
gotta,
mean,
right.
I feel like a route you can go that I'm planning, like I'm going on with my son. Sometimes you can even put them on as an employee, and what you got going on, you can sign them on as an employee. You could put, you know what I'm saying? They could be a model for a clothing line. Like when you putting down stuff on paper with them RAs and everything you're going through. Like if you could set your child up in a certain way, this for the guys that just not all the way street and actually got, a mini business. You could sell pencils, man, and put their name on it and do what you need to do. It's a lot of ways you can try to set your kid up, even if something happened to you. You can still generate that cash in a way, you know what I'm saying? It's the way you go about it. So I feel like it's a couple of ways you can do that.
Yeah, you can put your kid. You can put if you got an LLC or business, you can put them down and
Yep.
pay them a salary,
I'm telling you, keep paying them.
and it's a write off
Mm-hmm.
because they're employees.
You
I
sure
forgot the
right.
number. There's a certain amount of money they can make, but you can take care of your
It's
child. But
like I think it's like up to 12,000
Mhm.
And what age is
a
that
year.
you can start paying them?
I mean, it depends on the job. I feel like they already telling me my son is just turning 2, and it's people that want him to model for, they baby clothing lines, is things, it really depends on what job you want to give them and what age, you know what I'm saying, they are to put them in their position. They could be baby models, they could be anything really. It depends on what type of company you go.
Okay, let me read the chat and see if anybody said anything interesting in the chat. Yeah, so that's how she feel around my dad, but my mom I have to walk on eggshells. Yeah, okay, let me ask you this, Chad. Uh, do you think like females have more of a confrontational relationship with their moms as opposed to like males are more accepting of their fathers? Just like he said, he's still making a relationship with his dad, even though his dad been gone in and out of his life all his life. But a lot of times I see the disconnect between females, the mother and the daughter relationship. You want to kind of talk on that?
I really just feel like it depends on the mother and her mothering tactics because I had friends that were extremely close to their mother. I lost my mother at a young age, but I had friends that were extremely close to their mother and are still like best friends with their mother. But with my grandmother, I she was kind of close with her daughters, not my mom, but her aunt, my aunt. But she was really controlling and she did that to me too. So like she was there for everything for me, but I felt like when she passed away, she couldn't tell you my favorite color. She couldn't tell you nothing about me because everything about me she wanted to control. And because she wanted to control that, I completely shut her out to who I was and what I was doing or how I thought because she was never accepting of my own individual thoughts. And that made me distant from her, although we were close, if that makes sense. But I have friends who can talk to their mama about everything, do the whole nine, like I see with fathers and their sons. And with my daughter, I plan on just letting her, kind of develop her own personality. I don't really want to control too many things that she does in aspect of personality and hopes and dreams and goals for the future, because I know what that did with me and pushing me away from my grandmother. So I do feel like that more women kind of butt heads, but that's just because of the woman qualities they possess. Women sometimes want to be control of everything. And when you're doing that with your kids, it can push them away.
Yeah. I feel like also the other side to that is we get that. I feel like with me, I know with me being a young guy and seeing everybody grow up with their dads and have them in their life, and they seeing them a lot. I feel like mentally, when we don't see someone or you're not used to seeing someone, you get that celebrity complex, and it's kind of messed up that you get it with someone that had you, but my mom was always around. So, it's like when dad popped up, he popped up with gifts. He popped up with, a good time. I want to stay with him because I know I ain't got too long. I know I might get dropped off. I know I might get told I'm coming back and he might not be back for, 2, 3 weeks to a month. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of kids go through that, with the dad being in their life, and they might have a mom that's incarcerated or a mom that's out running the streets. And I feel like the parent that's not around as much, over time, their kid starts to develop that sense of celebrity type, like feel like, they say your daddy coming and you ain't seeing them a lot, or your mama coming and you ain't seeing them a lot, you go crazy. Same way with people that got parents in the army. Whoever the parent that's here and that's in the country and helping them out, once their parent comes in and all that, you see these reactions over social media all day. So I just feel like it could go two ways. You could be like Chazz said, or you could be, what I'm saying, just dealing with the feeling of like I just want to get as much time as I can right now because I know I don't have a lot. You know what I'm saying? I know I might not see this person again, so let me cling to what I got while I got it.
Coach, what kind of advice would you give young fathers right now in 2023? I mean, I know times are different when you was bringing your son up, but right now, what's the major thing you would tell young fathers right now that actually are trying and want to be in the children's lives?
Be present in your child life. You only get one shot at it. Be present. Be in your if you can be in your child life, you get one shot at this. There ain't no handbook to it. Be in your child's life. That's the simplest way. I how can I say this? Mr. Elmer, a guy named Mr. Elmer Cooper raised me. He wasn't my biological father, but that's the only father I knew, and he was present. And when I say present, he was at every game. You know, he the one got me on these cars. Be present, be around you, take your kid fishing. If it ain't nothing but sitting around talking. If your kid likes to do something, learn what they do and like to do it with them. My kids fuss at me now because they say I got them a car addiction. My son like cars like I do. My daughter's crazy about cars, and because I'm crazy about cars. If you're not present in your kid's life, it's gonna be hard to connect with them.
Okay, appreciate you, Coach. Man, we done had you on here for an hour and a half, and I know you got your best friend over there probably waiting on you to get back to her. And I appreciate everything coming on talking about insurance. That's really important because at the toll our young men are going at nowadays, man. That's a big major component of what we need to be doing as a community to kind of not leave ourselves in a hole whenever we lose our loved ones. And there's also great information that you gave us about the investments accounts, and I'm definitely interested. And I'll be hitting you up on some stuff, and I think Chazz will too. And appreciate everything you've done. In my eyes, you always be a living legend from Starford, and anytime you need or want to come back on the platform, you're more than welcome to.
Well, I appreciate you for having me, man. Thank y'all for having me, man. It's been a blast, and don't be surprised if I pop back up here on at 7 o'clock on some nights when I'm sitting around. when I ain't in the bed laying
Hey,
down.
Zay, before Uncle Milton, before you go, I
Go ahead.
also want to say thank you for teaching me about whole life insurance because at first, 6 years ago, I didn't have it, didn't know much about it. So thank you for inform me of how important it is. And from then up until now, I have it and I educate other people, even refer other people to you. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to let them know, like, you are the truth in what you do with primary care.
I sure appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me tonight. Look forward to seeing y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
y'all.
Chaz, you can lead us into the second topic.
Let me look it up so I can say it right. Okay, so the second topic we're going to be talking about are the effects of substance abuse, alcoholism, and gambling, and what the effects on what relationships that they have. I feel like I dealt with all of those in relationships in my younger years, and I feel like each one of them just make for a toxic situation that you really don't get anywhere, and it places the other party's life in danger. The person that's out doing it. Back in the day, everybody where I'm from used to be out gambling, and people shoot up dice games and this and that, and it just like with stuff like that, that's not really anything of substance. And I just don't think when you have those type of problems in your relationship, it just ain't gonna get too far.
What's up, Superior? You want to chime in? Because you kind of work in a walk of life. I think substance abuse, alcoholism, and just things of that nature. You want to kind of speak on your opinion on that?
You said what, bro?
Let me. She on mute. Superior, I can't. You got your microphone on? You're not muted. Can't hear you. Chad, shake your head and say no. You can't hear. Tell her
I can,
no. We can't
yeah,
hear.
I can hear. Oh,
Oh,
I
you can
can't.
hear.
No, no. I mean, I can't
Nah,
hear her.
I can't hear her neither.
Okay. Oh, you got your booty on camera.
Go out and come back in. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good topic though. I feel like in this day and age with the opioid crisis and you know what I'm saying, with the way, you know what I'm saying, people are drinking and moving and grooving, um we've made things that we used to be like, man, I ain't doing that and you do that and you crazy. I ain't gonna be on that. We done made it acceptable almost through music and a lot of things. And I think a lot of people deal with it though, like whether they partner drinks, whether they partner likes to pop pills, whether they partner, likes to engage in other things. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of people dealing with that, and sometimes before we tell somebody the truth, just because we like them so much, or we want them to be around, we'll start dealing with having a functioning addict around you or somebody that's a functioning
Right.
user, you know what I'm saying? And we would just watch sometimes without even trying to stop it because it's became so normal. I even found myself doing it, you know, 4 years back. I was dealing with a person that I really liked, and before I, say, I don't really like how you dealing with, falling asleep everywhere and always, tired, always high, always this and that. And I was taking the little bit of things that I was getting versus having a full functioning person around me because I felt like it was normal because it was what was around, at the time. So I feel like that's a big subject a lot of people can agree on.
Right. And we just lost my god brother to an opioid addiction, well, overdose. So it's a lot of fake drugs going on out in the streets, and a lot of music is condoning still doing these things that are taking a lot of our youth from us, because it's not only a problem with the older generation now, it's the youth that's dying from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the older generation kind of like wasn't so on the different things that we made popular in our generation. That's our generation and the generation behind us and the generation coming behind them. I feel like it's the impacted that much where it's probably even gonna get worse. You know what I'm saying with the kids that's coming up now, just for the simple fact of it's so normal to not just people don't just smoke weed no more. People gotta smoke weed. They gotta, you know, take a 30 milligram pill, and then on top of that, they gotta, drink 3, 4 ounces of lean to feel like they on their level, and it ain't like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like guys fall asleep standing up in the club with $10,000 outfits on and a Lambo outside, and these are the guys that a lot of kids are growing up watching and seeing. So it's definitely a big problem. That's like a big problem. I feel like in our society, in our generation.
Man, I think I'm gonna just give y'all a rundown on my own personal situation that just testimony to what I done been through in my life. As far as man, everybody know I'm a gambler. I love to casino. I actually lived inside a casino for about 2 years, man. And I'm a good gambler. Like I make good money doing it. But like, man, a lot of shit like that come with a price. As far as relationships, because like you're gonna, you spend so much time and you so caught up on yourself, you don't think about other people, man. It's times that I would be at the fucking casino on Christmas, dog. Like get to my mom house late, like never doing nothing with my parents, like girl I was dating, like, she never got the time or attention. Friends that I was around, they didn't get. I'm disappeared. I'm gone. I'm doing something else. So I feel like gambling probably worse than alcohol or drug addiction. When it comes to relationships, because you literally don't have any time. Your mood swings are up and down, and you actually you miss out on a lot of things, the smaller things in life, bro, chasing the bag. And it'll come a point in time you'll look back on that and you'll be like, damn, was the money really worth it? Or was my time and effort really worth it?
Right.
Nah, yeah, I feel like it's a lot of of addictions and stuff going on around. It ain't just gotta be something that you putting in your body, like you said, the gambling. It could be sex addiction. It could be, man, it could be anything, man. These days, there's so many things people get hooked on these days. It's crazy.
But
Well, and
go ahead.
all of those things, the addiction and the habits and stuff like that that we're talking about, those things are also a contributing factor in going back into why relationships aren't lasting, why we
Right.
can't have these two-parent households, why our youth are being raised by people that are not the parents, because everybody is caught up in things that are making us absent from what we really need to be doing.
Let me ask you this: as a woman, what would you rather put up with? An alcohol problem, a drug problem, or a gambling problem from a man?
Dang. Well, an alcohol problem, a drug problem, or a gambling problem. Well, the gambling problem, he ain't never gonna be there.
You feel like at least with the alcohol or the drugs, he gonna be
With the
passed out on the
alcohol,
couch.
look, hold on.
And with the alcohol and drugs, she feel like
Yeah, with
somebody at least gonna be at the crib.
with the alcohol and drugs, they probably gonna be at home. I probably would take alcohol over all of this because with the drug problem and how the drugs are set up right now, they probably gonna get took up out of here,
The way it's set
or
up for sure.
be stealing, stealing from the household to support this habit, constantly chasing something. With the alcohol, we might can get you bound, some beers, pack of beers every day or something.
Yeah. Nah, with the state of drugs, though, I feel that too. I probably want to deal with, you know what I'm saying, a person that
But
like,
my dad had a gambling addiction, and he almost lost, his family's house. Like he didn't have nothing to do with me during this time, but he was married with his wife, and they had a daughter, and she had, his stepdaughter, and his gambling addiction got so bad that he almost lost their house. Not to mention he wasn't present because he was out gambling and working. So I'll probably deal with the alcohol addiction.
Yeah, those three main things that I would ain't working in the black community, at least 20 to age 40. You can cut out them alcoholism, drugism, and the gambling thing. I think us as black people, man, we can grow and get back to that family structure. I'm just trying to find I'm just asking questions, trying to find solutions to, how do we get back to how they was in the '60s? Like Coach said, how do we get back to that
Well,
family structure?
I feel like it goes back into what I said the other day. We have to start being more intentional as a people, not just as a person, as a people. We have to start being more intentional about the things we are doing, down to the music we listening to, the food we consuming in our body, the conversations we are choosing to have, the time we are choosing to give certain people. You have to be with every action, there is an equal reaction, and that reaction could be good or bad, and you have to be mindful of those things whenever you're choosing, especially if you have kids. But I mean either way it's important, but if you have kids, you have to be mindful of everything you are doing at every moment, because every action you have is going to affect those children in a positive or negative way somewhere down the line. And I just don't think that, you know we are a group of people who are not as conscious as we once were.
Hey, how y'all feel about drinking and smoking in front of your children? I
I
feel like
can't say I ain't never done it, but like now my kids think I don't drink or smoke, honestly. And I've cut back a lot on my drinking. I don't smoke, but I've cut back a lot on my drinking. And I talk to my kids about smoking. They know that health problems come with it. My auntie, every time she smokes a cigarette, they be like, she gonna die because she be smoking them cigarettes. And I just, now I try to live my life in a way to where my kids can mimic what I'm doing, and I can be happy about that. Because I do believe, like COVID turned everybody into an alcoholic. And whether we believe it or not, all of the liquor that we are putting in our bodies at this point in time in life, we all gonna be on dialysis when our group of people turn, a certain age, we all gonna be damn near be on dialysis
I got
from
it.
COVID.
I'm a occasional, or like if it's something going on, drink out, because I don't really like to drink like that. But I love weed, and me being an artist, a rapper, I've been, I done seen Pop smoke weed. I done seen everybody
Well, I
around
was
me smoke. So it's kind of like me being with my son, with him being with me. You know what I'm saying? My son always with me, whether I'm at the studio or wherever. I don't be like putting him in no situation where he, hot boxed out, or nothing like that. But if we in a room and he with me, I don't hesitate to, roll up, smoke me a blunt or something, go and get the song done, whatever is going on. My son even sit in the booth with me, so I don't really think it's a bad thing to smoke weed in front of your kids. I just feel like long as you ain't putting it to where they sitting in the car with you, all windows up, or you in no enclosed situation, that's the only time I probably have a problem with it. And it's not like no frequent thing. It's just if he just so happened to be around me at this time, I ain't just gonna be like, man, I'ma wait until he leave and go woo do woo. Like he could be on his iPad in the living room, I'll be in the next room smoking me a blunt. I don't really see nothing wrong with it.
you think exposing your kids to stuff like that at home, it helps them more when they go out into the real world.
I feel like, yeah, I'd rather my son be knowing like my dad is smoking gas, so I'm not finna go and, what I'm saying, sneak with my friends and not have him, in tune to what I got going on. I feel like it'll make me more acceptable to talk to about this situation versus him hiding it from me and getting laced, or, something like that. Because I had a dad that when he found out I was smoking, he didn't have to like stumble upon it like my mama did. Like I called him and told him about my first experience and everything, and his response just was if you finna be doing that, come to me. You know what I'm saying? If you finna grab it or you finna do something, make sure you holler at me. And I used to go and get my weed from my dad, like making sure I was straight, making sure I didn't have to go call three, four people to bump into nobody because I feel like in this day and age, weed, by the time these folks grow up, you're gonna be having that shit sitting in the gas station for $5 if you want to go grab you a few blunt. Like it's gonna be legal everywhere. On top of that, shit, weed saves people and everything. So I feel like it's really about how you go about it, type shit. Like I feel like doing it, having your kid not green to the world helps out because you just got to think about the little people that you bump into that you can kind of tell is like green as hell and don't know nothing. I feel like they bump into more bullshit and turmoil in the streets before a person that kind of can see it from a mile away because they've been groomed to know, like, hey, this and this and this might go on. You need to look for this. And, if a dude on this, you need to look for that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they'll know from me first. Me personally, I have them gamed up before I just hide them and don't say shit. And now they out here doing some shit I don't know about.
Well, I feel like I had a different experience. My mother and father were both drug dealers while I was a kid. I remember vividly my dad coming over to purchase stuff from my mother. My mother never hid nothing from me, smoked weed in front of me, sold drugs in front of me, did all of it. And I feel like because I was exposed to that at such a young age, later on in life, I went out and sought those type of lifestyles with the first dude that I ever dated. He was a drug dealer. He was older than me. I've always had this pattern of dealing with someone in a street lifestyle when I was younger, not now, but when I was younger. And it made me more open to when I did started getting put around situations where people were smoking weed and stuff like that. I was more I was quicker to do it than my friends that I had who hadn't grown up in a household with their parents smoking weed in front of them or something like that. So I feel like me on my parenting style, I feel like I will talk to my children and educate my children, but it's just some stuff that I will not expose them to, especially at young ages, because me being exposed at a young age is probably why I made a lot of the wrong decisions in life. Just me personally.
Yep. I was gonna ask you, what was the direct effect on you growing up, like as a female, just being in that environment, seeing your parents.
Literally every dude that I've been in a serious relationship with has been a drug dealer. My no one really cared, about what I watched. Like the first movie that I watched when I was 4 years old, and I can remember it. I watched Striptease when I was four. Like a kid shouldn't be watching fucking Striptease. It was a good movie, but a kid shouldn't be watching it. I interned, and later on in my when I turned 18, ended up becoming a dancer, and I just felt like as a child I was exposed to too many things that got embedded into my subconscious, and I felt like that directly affected all the negative decisions I made once I became of age to make my own decisions.
So exposure. Gotta stop exposing these children to adult situations. And I mean, I can kind of agree with you because, like, I mean, when I was coming up, man, my mom, she threw parties. Like, they partied. But I never seen not one of them. I was in the back fucking room with all the other kids, closed in the room. And if you came out, it better been for a good damn reason.
Right. Well, see, my mom threw parties too, but I was a kid that knew everything that was going on, so I knew to keep all the kids in the back because those other kids didn't know what was going on. Me and my best friend, my mom's best friend, that was her mom, my best friend's mom. She knew everything that was going on, so both of us knew we had to keep all the other kids in the back room. And I can remember I tell people this as a story, and it makes me laugh because my kids are total polar opposite of how I was. My kids are still children. They're very smart and very aware, but they're not aware of things that they don't need to worry about at this age. I can remember being 4 and 5, and me and my friend Erica would be playing with Barbies, And I'd be calling the little Barbie cell phone, like, yeah, I'm gonna come over and pick up a QP. And I didn't know what that was at the
Man.
time, but I was mimicking what I heard my mom talking about on the phone. And there's no reason why a kid, when police would pass us, I would get nervous too, because I knew my mom was always nervous that police were around. And it's no way a child should be exposed to certain things. Like this day and age, and we talked about this last night about everything they're pushing, all the agendas they're pushing on television with the sexual stuff and how a lot of things are over sexualized. We are not giving kids an opportunity to be children anymore. Most of us that are in our age did not have an opportunity to be kids for as long as we should have been children. We are putting too many things in the brains of little minds who just need to be free and be the light and be the love that they were born to be right now. You can still educate your children, but I think you should educate and start exposing your kid when their brain is more developed than what it is now.
I'm with you on that. But I mean, I saw a lot of shit because I had 3 older brothers. So, and my peers were. So, I remember, like, I used to tell my homeboy, like, we talk now that we old and grown. I was like, man, you learn all of your bad habits from me and shit that, I was exposed to. And we always laugh about that shit. But, I mean, I think, like, especially when you're in a single parent household, a lot of the time that parent gonna be absent. And if like whatever your child exposed to, like while their parent is absent, it's probably like Tate was saying the other day, kids really be around other people more than they be around their parents, especially when they're in the school setting, going to school, different activities and shit like that. So I think it's important you be mindful of who your child is hanging around and who your child is picking up shit from outside of your household too.
Right. And see, and that's one thing I do. I am very picky on if a kid come around me and they do too much or know too much or they're disrespectful and stuff like that, I cut them off. I don't care if they friends, kids, whoever they are. I don't deal with no little disrespectful two grown kids around my children because I know the route I want my children to go and the route I want to try to help lead them in. And when kids come around and they had them red flags and stuff, where I see someone's parenting is just not, my parenting style. I don't do no overnight sleepovers with nobody. I let any kid they want to come to my house, but as far as letting my kids go stay the night here and there, and you don't know what's going on in these people's households, I don't do all this.
Ray said it was echoing. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is it my mic that's echoing?
I think it was.
Nah.
I had muted your mic while she was talking, and it got a little bit better. So we just keep them on mute till you get ready to talk. Yeah,
Okay,
that helps
Ben.
out tremendously.
I feel everything that Chazz was saying though, because I will say that me growing up around certain stuff, I never, you know what I'm saying, I've been a hustler all my life, so I know that came from seeing Pop be who he is, and my mom actually wrote my first rap and kind of showed me hip hop, so that's what I've been doing my whole entire life. So I feel home like you basically get what you gonna get from your parents, and you kind of try to be the best, you know what I'm saying, at what you've seen, you know what I'm saying? So I can say that it does impact them at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It could be for the good or for the better because I feel like the hustling brought me a lot of crazy, experiences, but with mom giving me, rap music and, showing me hip hop, it kind of put me in a lot of great situations as well. So I feel like it kind of go hand in hand on what you get and how you deal with it.
Okay, man. Tomorrow we're gonna have BC. I think what's tomorrow? Monday. Yeah, we're gonna have BC on back end clothing. We're gonna get him a highlight tomorrow, and we'll be back same time tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Appreciate you coming on, my boy.
Hey, yeah,
Anytime,
appreciate y'all.
anytime, man. It's just I think it's our third podcast. We're gonna keep getting better. We just try to build it and grow it, and Just build
Yeah,
a platform
I
for
get some
us.
promotion from Chazz and start posting it on my social media and stuff so more people can tap in. We can try to get it going.
Okay, that was up. That was up. And
All right,
y'all
man.
can like whenever we come on, y'all can stream the platform. I mean the podcast to whatever platform y'all want to.
Okay, bet.
Yep. So that was up, man. Keep coming on, fucking with me, and hit me on my inbox so we can, maybe I can get some of your music or whatever. We can highlight you on that aspect too, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I get with you for sure. As soon as I tap out, I'll just get your social media from Chazz and send you everything. Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, that'll work. That'll work. So
All right.
we gonna tap out for the night. Chad, appreciate you for coming on as always.
Appreciate you.
Uh,
Everybody have a good night.
all right, see y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.